Hello, and welcome to the It's Raining Crafts podcast. I'm Raina, your hostess, and today is July 5th, 2015. It is a holiday weekend here in the United States. I hope you all had a good weekend. I just stayed in and worked on some projects, and I'm working on a tutorial on my blog on how to knit with a 9-inch circular, how to knit socks on a 9-inch circular, because when I was searching on how to do socks on a 9-inch circular, I could not find one. So I just started from scratch and went gung-ho and figured it out from there. So I am doing this to help others, and hopefully when that tutorial is done, I will have a PDF file that you can download to your iPad or your Kindle, whichever you use to use while you travel. Because when I travel, I usually take my computer with me, but when I'm on the plane, I like to have my Kindle handy in case I need to look up some notes. So, my son found me on YouTube the other day. He said to my husband, "What's Mom doing on YouTube?" And he said, "Why don't you watch Mom and see what she's talking about?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to. I like it when she's here." So, my son didn't watch me on YouTube, but I thought it was really I thought it was really funny because I can just hear him talking to me on YouTube. And when he was talking to me last night, he's like, "You're on TV. What are you doing on YouTube?" And because he likes to go on YouTube and watch EvanTube, which is a kid from California who reviews all these toys. I think Skylander and Jurassic Park, and then he'll go on a field trip to somewhere. I think the last one that I watched with them was when he went to the Santa Cruz Boardwalk with his family. And he's very tech savvy like my husband. So, anyway, I wanted to talk to you today. I finished some projects. I casted on some projects. You know how it goes. And I have some works in progress that I'm working on. So, I'm casting on a bankhead hat by Susie Gorley. I don't have much right now to show you. I probably have about 4 rows done. It's about a half an inch so far. But you knit in a purl one, knit through the back loop pattern for 3 inches. So I'm thinking I have about 14 more rows to go until I reach 3 inches. Then I call it the meat of the hat, where you just follow the pattern, and it calls for 88 stitches. It calls that you cast on 100 stitches. I just cast it on for 88 because my long tail cast on only gave me 88 stitches, and I didn't want to recast on. So, finished objects. I'm going to show you the red hat that I finished. It's Lion Brand Tweed Stripe Mixed Berries yarn, and I ordered a second skein because I was afraid of running out of yarn. Sorry for that. And so this is my yarn. I played yarn chicken, and I won. I was happy. But I'm going to put this away for the winter, and I'll probably sell it. My second skein, I'm probably going to make a cowl to go with it, so it's easier to go along. And the second project that I finished was a basic E-wrap hat. When you use the Nifty Knitter looms and you wrap around the pegs, it's called an E-wrap because it's in the shape of an E. So I did 25 rows for the brim and 20 rows for the hat, and this was done in 2 days. And to take the loom off the hat, to take the work off the hat, you put in a darning needle and you thread up through the pegs, and then I turn it inside out to cinch it, and then I turn it right side out. So this is the hat that I made for my sister-in-law. And yeah, and she likes black and she wears a lot of black. She's a baker. She runs the Red Brick Bakery and Tea Room. She's now going to call it the Red Brick and Red Lion. And she just expanded into into more seating, and you can order, instead of ordering at the counter, you can now order from your seat. So it's nice. It's, we the last time I was up there was on Father's Day, and she had a big Father's Day buffet and called all of us to come and enjoy the leftovers when the Father's Day brunch was over. And I just dropped a stitch, so pardon me while I pick this up. And my husband was out of town that weekend, but we had lunch and it was nice, and we had a lot of fun. The boys, I always say you move closer to your family to be when you're close with your family, but you barely ever see your family because you have to do your daily chores and stuff, and your laundry and doing all that and work, and it's just nice to see family once in a while, to sit down and relax. And I had dinner this week with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and my 2 nephews, and that was a lot of fun. My nephews are 8 and 3. Well, going to be 3. He's 2.5, and he's very smart for his age. So it's a lot of fun to sit and just be with family. I enjoy my in-laws a lot. And so let's go in the whips. I am decreasing on my hat for the barley hat. I bought another skein of the Vanna's Choice Purple Mist colorway because I thought that I was going to play yarn chicken. But as you see, I have enough yarn to decrease on this. I just get really scared when I start to decrease, and then I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to run out of yarn. I need to buy another skein. So I have an extra skein in my basket now for something else, and maybe I'll make a cowl to go with it. But this is the barley. It's a garter panel. It's the stockinette panel. It's really simple, and I really enjoy it to work on it. It's I don't want to say it's time consuming, but it's really it's my mindless knitting project because it's just the stockinette panel and stockinette, and I don't really have to count when I do. So let me have a sip of coffee right now. I am drinking Target brand, Archer Farms coconut macaroon coffee. It is very, very yummy. And the next is the Tordon cow that I'm working on. I did one section so far of rows 1 through 12. I like how this is turning out. I like the ruffling on the bottom. It was a challenge for me because I never did a cow with a ruffly bottom, and I like how this is turning out. So I had this measured out to 2.5 inches. I think that I have 3.5. I think I'm going to do 3.5 more sections and cast it off when I'm done with that. But it's a very simple. It's very simple once you get to once you get the hang of it. It's very simple. I thought it would be a lot more difficult because I tend to stray away from patterns that have decreases in slip stitches in the same row. But I did my socks, so I can do anything now. I feel that I'm invincible in knitting. I can do anything. So the next is my Crazy Sour Ball sock. And I made progress on this. I was at my gusset decreases. And I see. I was at my gusset decreases, and now I'm at my toe decreases. I did 8 rows of stockinette, and not 8 rows, but I did about 27 rows of stockinette before I started my decreases on my toe. So I'm doing a tutorial on my blog on how to knit a sock with circular needles, my ankle socks, because I tend to wear more ankle socks than I do full cuff socks. I know it's like in the middle of summer now, but I will put these away for the winter. And so my son the other day, he saw my knitting in my bag, and he's like, "Oh, we have to knit." So he runs into Mima's room, and he's like, "I got my knitting," and it's a big cute crochet hook and some sugars and cream cotton yarn that he has, and he's like, I'm knitting a sock, Mom." And I'm like, "Okay, buddy." So he's like, come to the table, we'll knit." So we sit at the table, and I'm working on my Sauerball sock, and he's working on his knitting, and he's saying that he's making a hat for his cousin Tucker. It was so cute. It was so cute because every time I measured, he had to measure. So he's like, "Oh, I have like 16 inches. I have like 2 more inches to go, and then I cast off, and he's 4.5, so it's really cute. And then he conned my mother-in-law in the knitting, her hitchhiker that she's working on, and it was time for Graham to come down, so they went and they got my husband's grandmother from her apartment, and she has really bad vertigo, so she needs someone to walk with her. And she was in the hospital while they were in Williamsburg because she got really bad dehydrated. She had really bad dehydration, and so she's still like recovering from that. She's in her 80s, and if that's poor Graham. I'm like, what doesn't, it's always something when you take care of an elderly person, I say. But and then So Graham brought me these socks. They were like little baby booties, and they had a pom pom on them. So she was like, maybe you could knit these. So my mother-in-law said she had a pattern for that, and that she was going to give it to me. And I said, and I was like, oh, okay, you know. And she so Cal saw them, and he automatically put them on his feet, and he's running around the house in these booties. And I'm like, buddy, can I have those, please? I'm going to make them. I'm going to figure out how to make them. And he's like, no, I want them. They're purple. So he's running around the house in purple booties, and it was really funny. And I just let him have them. And my mother-in-law is going to copy the pattern for me anyway, so I can make some booties out of yarn, because I have baby yarn that I bought to make hats out of, because a couple years ago I was like, I need to make some neutral hats, so yellow and white are good enough. So yeah, that was really funny. And speaking of Graham, I'm making her a hitchhiker that she saw last year that I made for my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. So I have about 5 teeth done already, and I don't know how far I'm going to go, but I have a locking stitch marker on the 5th one, so when I get to like row like 18 or something, I can just count the stitch markers and say, okay, I'm at 21, because I have 5 locking stitch markers or something. I enjoy this pattern a lot. I don't make enough of them. I showed the one to you that I made myself last week, and my sister-in-law, hers is black, and my mother-in-law's is like it's called Cafe Latte in the Barocco Vintage colors. So that's what I'm working on. And I wanted to talk to you about, I have an E-wrap hat tutorial on my blog. It's not on my blog yet, but I have one video of me showing you how to E-wrap on the loom. And then I did a closer up version that I haven't posted yet, but it was uploaded to my channel last night. And I hope to put that on the blog. And so upcoming projects, I have hats and scarves in my future for my nephews. I tend to knit for my family for Christmas. I start in July. Sometimes if I need yarn, I order yarn, and it's just easier for me to start earlier in the year than it is later, because at the end of the year we have a lot of stuff going on, and it's just easier to focus. So I'm going to make hats and scarves for my nephews out of Red Heart soft yarn in the royal blue colorway. Tucker, my nephew, he likes blue, and Camden will wear anything that Aunt Raina makes him because and Kellen too, he will make anything that I make him. He asked me to make him a scarf this year for Christmas, so I told him that I was already on it. So I have other hats and other cows that I'm going to make for other people that I think that I got lovely feedback from my sister and my mother and my cousin and my best friend and my other close friend that lives in Pittsburgh. And so after, I'm planning to work on all this over my vacation, so I don't have to think about working on. So if I get them done over vacation, because it's just mindless knitting, and it will be so much easier if I don't have a time restraint than when I do. So when I come back from my trip, I can focus on what I want to make for me, and that is a sweater by Hannah Fettig I saw in my local yarn store, Uncommon Threads in York, Pennsylvania. Lisa had it hanging up, and it's called the Contented Cardigan Contented Cardigan by Hannah Fettig. It's a $5.95 pattern on Ravelry, and I think that I will have my husband take my measurements this week, so I can, when I go out to California, I can look around for some yarn to see what I want to get to knit my sweater. And I think that it'll be really, really fun. So I have a sock tutorial that I posted on my blog on how I do my socks. These are the socks that I have on my blog so far. I dropped some stitches, so this is what I have so far. I had the gusset pickup, and I have the heel turn posted. So now I'm just knitting. Before I do my gusset decreases, I always like to knit a row, so my stitches are not tight on my needle and they're not falling off like they are right now. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. These are my old socks. My school colors were purple and gold when I was in high school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's a lot of fun. And so when I learned to knit back in 2010, when I first, our son was 2 months old, and he brought me home knitting needles, and I couldn't figure out how to knit, because he thought that, he's like, you crochet, you do the looms, you can learn how to knit. So my mother-in-law tried to show me, and everybody that I notice that knits is right-handed, which is a challenge when you're left-handed. I'm going to put this down. So what I did is, a couple years later, after I learned to knit, I was curious on how to needle knit, so I went on YouTube, and most videos that I watch, people knit from the outside in, because they're right-handed. I knit from the inside out. So people who say, oh, I'm not going to teach you, you're left-handed, you'll never learn how to knit. I've heard stories about people, and they just don't know. It's just very easy for me to go on YouTube and to look up something now. I'm very grateful for YouTube teaching me how to knit. And pardon me, I have to take a sip of my coffee again. And so this is my third episode. I want to know what you think about it. Any questions or any feedback can be posted on YouTube under my channel, or you can email me at javadiva@gmail.com, and or post to me on Instagram under SF Chick or Ravelry, or send me a message on Ravelry under the same name. So I hope that you have a good week, and I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.